Hello guys, what's up? It's Will here once again for another fight card prediction. We're here for UFC 260 Miocic against Ngannou. The second fight takes place 3 years or so after the original fight in Boston, where Stipe Miocic just absolutely beat Francis Ngannou down, just grinded him out. Was a really, really good performance, and it's one of the biggest things I take away, because I was so on Stipe Miocic that week, and I was like, he's going to win. All the hype was on Ngannou. I said I was going to bet him, and I didn't bet him, so it was one of the biggest betting lessons I've ever had, and I actually learned quite a lot from that. So, yeah, what's up, guys? Hope you're all well. Hope everybody enjoyed the card at the weekend. I had a really, really good time, and I want to give a massive shout out to Brett Apley, Daily Fan MMA, who helped me take down $2,500, took down a GPP, got a really nice payout. Like I said, I'm not the biggest DraftKings player, but I've kind of, in the last year with COVID being around, I've not really played as much as I usually do. I played a little bit more, and it kind of paid off this week. Only paid $50 and took away 2,500, so that was a nice hit. I just want to give a massive shout out there. dailyfanmma.com. You'll get great write-ups, video content, rankings, you name it. It'll help you with your DraftKings play. And yeah, really looking forward to kind of talking about this card. It's taken some hits. Obviously, Volkanovski against Ortega has been taken off. That is a really tough hit to this card, in my opinion. It kind of leaves it a little bit threadbare, with especially in this kind of COVID scene where fights can fall off in an instant. So yeah, if you're new to the channel, I'm at 3,999 subscribers. I'm one short of being number 4,000. So if you are number 4,000, I want you to leave a comment in the comment box below. That'd be great there, because I've been trying to get to that for, it seems, months now, and it probably has been months. But yeah, please go and help subscribe, make the channel bigger. It'd be much, much appreciated for that. I can see some of you guys in the chat there. Kiro the Tank, what's up, my man? Hope you're well. Rex Lee, what's up? Manuel Thar the Machine, what's up? Enrad, what's up? Let's get round to talking some fights, guys. So we're starting off in the middleweight division. We've got Marc Andre Barriault against Azaitar. And this one here, I think, has got all the chance of being a kind of really close, kind of really not a very good looking fight. A lot of two guys maybe slinging bombs, maybe a lot of clinch work. I don't think aesthetically it'll be really nice on the eye, this fight, if I'm being honest with you. I think that when you watch Azaitar's fight, especially his last fight, now when we talk about Azaitar, he's only had one fight, I want to say, in like 4.5, maybe 5 years. That was against Vitor Miranda. That was a little bit scrappy. It was a little bit back and forward. Not the greatest fight, but it was, like I say, it was a scrappy one where I think he ended the rounds really well. I think his pace initially really got to Vitor Miranda, where he was going in. He got some nice time takedowns. So that's something there that Barriault could use here if he has that in his something that he's shown an awful lot of in his UFC tenure. But he comes out there. I've just got a funny feeling that these two are going to kind of sling a little bit and then clinch up, take a breath, then kind of go at it a little bit. And it's just going to be very, very, very close rounds. And I can see why this betting line is pretty much a pick 'em now. I would pick kind of either side there. If you're betting this, like if you've got a good lean, I would go with the dog side. And Azaitar a couple of days ago was an underdog, and I thought that might be a spot. But then I watched more of the fights today, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of maybe throwing money on this fight. So, like I said, I'm going to edge Azaitar, even though, I mean, I think he's missed the prime of his career with not being active. I mean, he's 35 years old now. He's only had the one fight in 4 or 5 years. So I don't expect a really high ceiling from Azaitar. And like, he can fade as well. He was putting his back a couple of times with Miranda. He actually swept a couple of times, avoided some nice submissions a couple of times. And he went in there, he was slinging shots to the body, just try to slow down Miranda. Miranda really started to gas out really after the first round there. So I'll take Azaitar, I mean, Barriault beat Pahota, then he tested, he got popped for some via USADA. Lost a couple of fights beforehand. A tough guy nonetheless, but I'm going to edge Azaitar in that one there. Featherweight division with Shane Young against Omar Morales. Now, I thought initially this fight was going to get pulled, but I've been looking on Twitter within the last hour, and they're saying that this fight could go ahead. They were looking for a replacement for Morales, but they're still saying that Shane Young can still fight if he goes through the COVID protocols and everything checks out okay. So that's a little bit interesting to me. If this stays this way, like I say, I really liked Omar Morales, honestly, beforehand. I thought that he was a really good bet, actually, and he was minus 160, minus 170 area. I didn't mind actually playing that straight. I think this is a good matchup for him in this spot. Shane Young, I've never been super high now. I think he's a very tough, gritty fighter who, I mean, he's won kind of fights against the kind of lower levels of the guys in there like Oscar Arnett and Rolando Diaz. I don't hold them in high regard. The Ludovic Klein one, I couldn't believe he was an underdog, Klein, in that fight. I thought he had far too much arsenal on his feet, too precise, and it showed that. He got the head kick, followed up with some punches, and got him out of there at the end of round number one. Klein did miss weight, which was always a little bit of an asterisk, but I think he's sound, he's solid, but I don't think he's got any real big firepower to really stand and really go toe-to-toe with someone like Omar Morales, who's got big kicks, can throw in combinations, it's got power there. So as of right now, if this fight goes ahead, I like Omar Morales, but like I say, over the weekend, I thought this fight was done because they did say they were looking for a replacement for Morales, but I thought I'd just give a quick prediction if this fight does go ahead. So Morales is the pick there. Gillian Robertson against Miranda Maverick is up next, and this is a rescheduled bout from, I want to say, a month ago when I think it was Robertson, someone in our camp, COVID kind of came to play in that one there, if I believe off the top of my head. And I actually bet Gillian Robertson then and botched the line, actually. I bet her at plus 125, but on kind of fight day or the day before, she kind of went up to plus 140. So in that fight, I picked Gillian Robertson, so I'm not changing my pick. I'm sticking with Gillian Robertson in this spot here. I know there's a lot of love for Miranda Maverick. There is. I did the MMA Huddle podcast earlier on. There's some guys in there that really, really like Maverick in that spot, and I can see why. Like, I'm not being blinkered here because I have money down on Gillian Robertson, but and I've said this a few times when I've watched Miranda Maverick now. I did it with the Joe Dewar fight. I've watched her entire career. You look, if you watch her career, there is multiple girls getting multiple takedowns via different ways. You've got Pearl Gonzalez getting double legs. You've got Brogan Sanchez Walker, who's getting sweep takedowns. I want to say again, Victoria Leonardo got a takedown in there. So there's girls there, and like you can catch leg kicks where you can get trips, you can get double legs. So there's numerous times and numerous ways you can take down Miranda Maverick. But I will say this and this is going back, I mean, I'm watching a career from 2017 to now, which our pro career is only 4 years old. There is definitely some big jumps within her the way she looks, the way her skill sets kind of panned out. She can take you down. She can be heavy on top. She can also be dangerous on the feet. And she maintains a good output, looks super strong. In this one here, I've bet Gillian Robertson. I got it plus 140. My money's already down. Her path to victory is obviously getting the fight to the ground, and I think she can do that. Her takedown entries aren't the greatest, so I'm kind of hoping it gets into a clinch battle against the cage where she can get trips, maybe chain wrestle a little bit, even though her chain wrestling isn't great, but where she shines is on the ground. And I think she can have dominant positions where she can finish this fight. If not, she could probably win a decision. But like I said, I'm not blinkered to the fact that Miranda Maverick, to me, is the better all-around prospect. We've kind of seen the ceiling with Gillian Robertson. She's not got the greatest output on the feet, not got great striking, but her ground game is enough that she can win fights. And this is a massive step up from anybody, in my opinion, that has faced, Miranda has faced. You go from Pearl Gonzalez, who's a UFC vet, That's really all she really was. She wasn't a kind of standout talent or anything at all. Then she got a really good matchup in Joe Dua, and then I think she's getting a step up in opposition against Robertson, who is dangerous with a certain skill set. But like I say, she can absolutely win the fight. She can maybe out muscle Gillian Robertson, which is definitely something that could happen. She could maybe hurt on the feet, knock her out, which can definitely happen. And I think she could probably have some success on the ground. I just think that if Robertson gets into positions here where she's the dominant force, she can win the fight. So I've got Gillian Robertson there. I bet her a couple of units at plus 140. I like her in this spot here. I think she can get it done. But it's when you watch someone's entire career, you've kind of got to take notice of the jumps that they've made, and she does look different. She looks stronger. She looks like she could control Robertson a little bit, but I just think that Robertson's going to be scrappy in here, and I like the number at plus 140. I think it should be a little bit lower. I know a lot of people are on Maverick, and I wish you all the best if you're betting that side, but I'm on the Gillian Robertson side in that one there. Modestas Baukaukas against Michal Oleksiejczuk. I like Michal in this one. Don't like it, the fact that he fights at 205. I think he's completely undersized in that division. I don't think he looks the best for it. You look on Instagram, he doesn't look like in shape. He doesn't look shredded. He's a bit tubby. But what he does have is he has a really fast hand. He's got good fast striking. And in this matchup, predominantly, why I like him in this one is just that hand speed and the fact that Baukaukas doesn't really grapple. I think if you've got a grappling threat, you can beat Michal Oleksiejczuk, in my opinion. I think that you can come in there and potentially kind of grind him out with the wrestling, maybe slow him down a little bit. But when it's on the feet, Baukaukas is predominantly a striker, and you've seen that he got his win over Michailidis. Then he got a big jump against Jimmy Crute, which I thought at the time was like, oh, that's not good. And he got smashed. He got knocked out in that one there, a nasty knockout. And I think he's maybe coming back a little bit too soon from that one there. Oleksiejczuk obviously lost to OSP. At this point in his career, like losing to OSP is not the greatest look when OSP is probably kind of 1.5 feet out the door at the minute. But I just like the hand speed. I like the variation with his striking. I think that, and I don't know whether this is because I've watched Baukaukas coming through Cage Warriors, seen him get knocked out by guys that definitely weren't 205ers. Like John Redmond wasn't a big 205 guy. I think that was a little bit of lower weight as well, got knocked unconscious. We've seen him against Jimmy Crute. And I think the hand speed here of Michal, Oleksiejczuk, is going to be too much. And I think that he's actually going to knock out Modestas Baukaukas. So I've got Michal Oleksiejczuk, second round. TKO is my prediction there. Abubaker Nurmagomedov against Jared Gooden is up next. I like Jared Gooden. I've watched these interviews. I know him through Dan Levy and Half the Battle. He kind of put my eyes onto him many years ago. The guy fought his ass off to try and get into the UFC, then got a tough fight against Alan Jouban. And again, I think this is a really tough spot for him to be in here against Abubaker, who, like I say, to me, he doesn't meet the eye test. When I watch his fights, I don't think he's a top talent, in my opinion. I think that obviously he's got that surname, which I think is a burden in some spots, and a plus in some others. I think Abubaker doesn't fight anything really like Khabib, where, well, of course, he kind of fights similarly to Khabib because he wants to get to the fight to the ground. He wants to dominate you with the wrestling, dominate you with the control, and that's predominantly what he's shown. But he's shown that he's got weaknesses in his game. He can be caught, which he showed against David Zavada. Like, I actually thought he started that fight very well, landed a couple of nice long left jabs to the kind of face of Zavada. Got a beautifully timed entry into a takedown. Was looking okay for the first 30 seconds or 30 to 45 seconds of that position. Then Zavada just got his hips up very quickly, got in there, got a triangle, and got a really nice first round submission. The thing is with Jared Gooden here, he's a striker. He's predominantly a striker. And you watch some of his fights out there in the regional scene, he shows at points good takedown defense, good balance, will fish for underhooks a little bit, but he can be backed up to the cage and he can be kept in positions there where I think that Abubaker could definitely have spots there where he'll do that. But I also think he will probably get takedowns in some of those spots as well. If this stays standing for kind of predominant length of time, I think Jared's got the big opportunity to come forward there, use that big power that I think he has, could potentially hurt Nurmagomedov. Like I say, in my opinion, I want no part of Nurmagomedov in this fight, betting-wise. I think, if anything, I would take a shot in Jared Gooden. Abubaker could come out here, obviously probably win a 30-27 and look fairly comfortable, but with the betting lines that he's at, I wouldn't like to be on that side. I would like to be in the Jared Gooden side on a betting side, but as a pick, I'm going to go from Nurmagomedov here. I think he plays it very safe. I think he will fish for takedowns. I think he will just lay heavy on top of Jared Gooden if he gets him to the ground, and then it's on Jared to get back to the feet. But if he does, then I definitely think he could come in there and hurt Nurmagomedov. But I think Abubaker he's going to win like a 30-27, be a pretty boring fight in all honesty. But I really want Jared to come out here and kind of put one in his chin and put him out, which would be great. And like I say, he showed a lot of heart in that Joe Ban fight. That's a tough fight against a really seasoned striker, tough guy to make an entry to the UFC. But I think this is just a rough fight for him, and not the greatest matchup for him. So yeah, Nurmagomedov for the win there. Jessica Penne against Hannah Goldy. Jessica Penne, that's a name I long forgot about. Coming on nearly 4 years. She's had a USADA ban. So she fought April 22nd, 2017, so nearly 4 years. And actually, went back and watched that fight this afternoon. I thought she was a little bit unlucky not to kind of win that fight, if I'm being honest. I thought that should have been a lot closer, maybe even on her side there. So she's a little bit unlucky there, but I definitely think taking 4 years out in this sport right now, I know she's probably been in the gym, she's been active, she's probably been around Angela Hill when she's had fight after fight after fight, and she's probably been helping out in some spots. She's been doing her thing out there, I think, on OnlyFans and stuff, and selling pictures and stuff, which all the girls in kind of MMA seem to be getting into nowadays. Someone said earlier on who'd be buying pictures of Jessica Penne. I bet you there's people out there. There's plenty of people out there. But like where I see this one here, I think that she's very stationary. She's very hittable. Hannah Goldy, to me, her striking's okay. I think she can get taken down. I think if I'm Penne, I look to kind of clinch up, try and use some clinch knees, look to get takedowns through that. And I think she can. I actually do think she can. But for me, when I look at the feet, I think she's very hittable. She doesn't faint. Her head stays on the centre line. She's very hittable. So for me, I'm kind of going to edge on the Hannah Goldy side. I think that she can just run out a decision win here. But I do think Jessica Penne, if she can get some takedowns as a very live fighter here, for me, I'm going to pick Hannah Goldy, and I'm going to pick her via a decision in that one there. And I don't think she's ever really been the same since she kind of got bludgeoned against Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Jessica Andrade. I mean, that's just rough. And then you get Danielle Taylor, who's just a horrible style matchup. It's hard to ever look good against that girl. So I've got her there. Alonzo Menifield against William Knight is the kind of headline of the prelims here. This is another rescheduled bout from 3-4 weeks ago, where I think it was the Alonzo side had COVID kind of implications there, and initially I picked Alonzo Menifield, so there's no reason for me to really kind of change picks here. The way I see this fight, I see it being a slow-paced fight. Obviously, there's some doubts with the the gas tank, I should say, the sustainability of Alonzo Menifield as the fight goes on. And that's clear as day. We've seen that in some spots there where he gasses really badly. Let's say in a slow-paced fight, I think this, and William Knight's not one of these guys that's particularly gung-ho in your face. He can do that. I've seen him do that, but I think he can slow down fights a little bit. He could look to clinch up. I think that's what he's going to do. I think he's going to look to really tire Alonzo out with his grappling, clinch him against the cage, just kind of wall and stall, throw some dirty shots in there to the body, some knees up the middle, try that, but and maybe try and get takedowns through that. But to me, Alonzo, I think he's got the more potent striking, bigger power, better footwork. I just think that he needs to mature a little bit. I think some of these guys get to the UFC too early. I think Menifield was probably one of these guys. But when he puts it together, big power, like I said, I see this being a slow-paced fight. I really do. I think it wouldn't surprise me one bit if this hits a decision. I know it's the big heavies, the light heavies, and you expect knockouts and finishes and so on, and it could happen at any time with both guys, but just got a feeling this is going to be slow-paced. It was brought to my attention earlier on that Alonzo Menifield by decisions like plus 725. I don't think that's a bad-looking one, honestly, in what could be a slow-paced fight. I like the over 1.5 personally at minus 110, I think it is, over 1.5 rounds. Now, I'm not one of these guys that likes betting props, over-unders type guy, but I actually quite like the over 1.5 there. So my pick's going to be Alonzo Menifield. I've actually got him probably by a late TKO, if not a decision, if he can keep his faculties together, not gas out. I think he can win this fight. So I've got Alonzo Menifield there. This is one I wasn't sure was going to stay together, but it seems like it is. It's Khama against Jamie Mullarkey. Before I went into watching some fights in this one here, I actually kind of edged Jamie Mullarkey, and then I kind of realised why I kind of faded Mullarkey last time out, because I don't think his skill set is high caliber. I think he's got a lot of heart. I think he's got a lot of grit, determination. I think he's got some deficiencies in his game that he can get hit with very, very easily. And I faded him against Faris Saim. And a lot of people were like, oh, that's a bit of a robbery. I thought Faris at least won that fight, not comfortably, but I thought he did enough to win the fight. Some of the things I didn't like in that fight was the fact that Faris got him down. I thought Mullarkey was going to be the guy that was going to be going for takedowns, and he did predominantly and try and get inside the reach of Zaim, but he got taken down. He got handled a little bit there. But like I say, he's a come-forward fighter, a gritty guy who can take big shots. You've seen the Riddell fight where he was just eating blows left, right, and centre, and he can stay in fights through that. But if you're losing to guys like Faris, who's very kind of inexperienced, not all that much high-caliber kind of fight experience, then you've got Khama here, who I don't want to say he's got high-caliber fight experience, but he's a guy that's been around 20-plus fights, got some power, got some submission savvy to him, all around a fairly half-decent fight, and I think this is a good spot for him to come out here and garner another win in the UFC after these 2 wins over Luis Penne and Devontae Smith. I think he can find the chin of Mullarkey, but like I say, I think it's going to be hard to put him out. If I'm Mullarkey, I think he needs to grapple heavy. I just don't think that he's going to get the opportunity to kind of do that. So I'm actually going to pick Khama. I'm going to pick him via knockout. I think that he finds a shot some part of this fight where he can hurt him. But just be kind of careful he doesn't kind of get outgrinded in this spot. I don't think that he will. So for me, I'm on Khama. I think that he knocks out Jamie Mullarkey. But like I said, I'm a little bit surprised this fight's going ahead after the whole Riddell thing, and there was a picture of Riddell, Young, Volkanovski, Mullarkey, and we know a couple of those guys have been taken off cards recently. So, I'm like I say, I'm on Khama. Not super confident in it, but it is what that's the gut feeling I have in this pick here. So, I'm just going to go back into the chat here and just see what's going on. Young at dog money. Miranda's getting subbed by Gooden. I quite like that. Congrats on DraftKings. Thank you very much. That was a nice surprise to wake up to on Sunday morning for that. Lord will find that chin. I believe that as well. Doing this for a bit now. I've been doing it for a long time. I'm not a young gunner on this one anymore. Abu all the way from Philip. BP, my man, what's up? Good to be joining you on a Monday night. Well, good luck this weekend. I'm in Jillian as well. Let's get that cash, brother. Forgot Penne was still in the roster. Yeah, Kiro, I agree with you there, brother. Damien saying, I'm surprised Khama is only minus 150. Seems like a pretty easy win to me. I think that he could, but like I say, Jamie's tough and he sticks around in fights. So he could edge out a decision, absolutely. So, yeah, let's get into this other fight here. Sugar Sean O'Malley against Thomas Almeida, and I'll come out and say it straight away, guys. I like both guys, but I have always been a big admirer of Thomas Almeida. I heard about this guy before he went to the UFC. He was kind of, I don't want to say he was fighting the top caliber guys out there, but he came over to America. I think he won the LFA or the RFA title at that point, and was fighting the guys. He was getting some kind of name guys in the US, not super high caliber guys, but enough to get him into the UFC, came in, garnered a lot of hype, was stopping fools left, right, and centre, was giving great performances, was a complete savage on the feet. I mean, the Tim Gordon one was a decision, wasn't the greatest fight, but then he showed against Jobuen and Brad Pickett, Anthony Burchak, that this guy can, if he can pick his shots, he can absolutely knock you silly. And saying that, he's another guy that can be hit and can be knocked silly a little bit as well. I think there was a stat that comes up in his last fight there that he's been knocked down the most. I think in the UFC it was like 6 times. I think it was one of those stats. So he is very hittable, and when you watch him, you can absolutely see holes in his game that Sean O'Malley can come in there and get him out of there. If Sean O'Malley finds his shots correctly and like doesn't injure himself, it seems like I say, he could find a spot to put him down here. I think that Almeida, to me, is a very live dog here. We know what the UFC want to do. They want to get Sean back on the win streak because he's a guy that is marketable. He's a guy that fans, you've seen in his last fight against Chito Vera. I hate that fight because he keeps saying that he won that fight. He never lost that fight. Bullshit. You got your ass beat. You got knocked out in the first round, so you got your ass beat. But you had, if you look at the comment section down below when the fights were going on, you had NFL players were coming in for the sugar show. And so this guy gets eyeballs on him. So the UFC obviously want him to get this win here. But when you go back and watch his fights in the UFC, he gives fighters opportunities. I mean, Sukumtath, if he had any inkling of a fight IQ, could have got him out of there easily. Terry and Ware was always losing that fight, but had spots where he was catching him with shots. I think that Thomas Almeida, if he can start quick, attack those legs, it's obvious that Sean O'Malley is deficient with his leg, taking leg hits, that he injures himself. Now, I actually think O'Malley has got great kicks. His high kicks are top notch. I think his body kicks are really good, and he can low kick as well. But I think that's to his detriment if he's in here throwing kicks, because it's fairly obvious that the guy can injure himself and put himself in jeopardy of losing fights through those deficiency in whatever his legs is. Because, like I said, that's a couple of times now that he's been hurt with leg strikes and been culpable to getting taken out. So, like I say, when you watch Almeida, he came back against Jonathan Martinez after nearly a 3-year layoff. Looked a little bit slow. I think as the fight went on, he started to land more cleaner shots, like into third round, but was still eating a lot of shots. Like the output was definitely on Martinez's side. I actually thought Martinez, not being a high caliber guy, I don't think he is. I think he'll be a guy that sits around that top 20 of that division. Will take some losses to guys you wouldn't expect. Like I didn't expect him to lose to Davy Grant, but fair play to Davy in that one. But he did look a little bit slow. I thought he looked a little bit rusty to me personally, just from watching the majority of his fights, especially all these fights in the UFC. He looked a little bit rusty, but some people I've seen some people saying out there that O'Malley could take this to the ground. I'm like, Almeida's, not that we've seen much of it. I'm sure he's a little bit serviceable down there, but predominantly I think this fight's going to be taken in the place, and this is the fan pick on my part. I'm picking Thomas Almeida to come in here. Actually, it's a fan pick, but I do think he's a live underdog at the odds that he's at. I think if you're looking at minus 300 Sean O'Malley, plus 250 on Thomas Almeida, to me, if this becomes a striking affair where both guys I think are very, very proficient on the feet, I think that Thomas has a shot. I think he can hurt Sean O'Malley. Now, Sean O'Malley is I love his striking. I think his feints, his speed, his length, his shot selection are things that I like against guys who are stationary fighters that he can get, like Eddie Wineland, too slow, too stiff, too predictable. Almeida's a little bit like that, where I don't want to say he's slow, but he's right in front of you. He's not a guy that kind of feints off to the side. He will be right in front of you, so you can land shots, and he can be put down. We've seen that numerous times in his UFC tenure. I just think that he's going to knock out Sean O'Malley in this spot. So I'm going to take Thomas Almeida to win this one here. I mean, if Thomas loses this one, will they keep him around after 4 losses? I know that a couple of those losses, like Font, Rivera, Martinez, especially Font and Rivera, like they're 2 guys that are in the top 10 of that division. O'Malley's a guy that could be a top 10 guy. So I'm going to take Thomas Almeida. It's a fan pick on my part. I need to think whether I'm going to bet it or not, because I've been trying to say, look, if you like fighters, don't bet on them. but I think that he's got a legit spot here, and the odds that he's at, I don't mind taking a stab at him. So Thomas Almeida for the win there for me. Co-main event, Tyron Woodley against Vicente Luque is the co-main event now after Volkanovski and Ortega fell out, which is a shame. That was such a good fight. My gut feeling on this before I came into it was like, I think Tyron Woodley can win this fight. And then you go back and you just watch, and don't just watch his last 3 fights, because that is against the upper echelon of that division. Obviously, you're going to take that and look at it. Maybe he's just fell off from that top spot that he'll never ever regain that. I don't think he ever will. But just look at the fights and say, when did he last look good? Because you go back, Maya, I don't think he looked great. I don't think he looked good in the second Wonderboy fight. I actually don't think he looked good in the Till fight. I thought that was on Darren Till, where he did nothing and really let Tyron Woodley get shots off, never pushed him back with any of his striking. He barely landed anything in the 6 minutes of that fight, or 6 or 7, 8 minutes of that fight that there even was. He landed next to nothing and didn't pressure him whatsoever. Till should probably never been in that spot at that point in his career anyway, but the hype kind of got him there. So you're going back maybe 4.5 years since a last decent performance. You're maybe going back to July when he beat Robbie Lawler. I just don't value his performance against Maya. Now, he did what he had to do. It wasn't a great fight, but he did what he had to do. Then you lose to Usman, you lose to Covington, you lose to Burns. He just gets backed up far too much, and the guy doesn't throw. He is so scared to throw anything now. The fact of getting countered or getting hit with shots and whatever it is, that he's a non-factor. Now, in saying that, you look at Vicente Luque, he's hittable. He has a far more higher output than what Woodley has. He has a more diverse game than probably anybody that he's kind of faced in these last 3 fights regarding kicking and striking, in my opinion. I think that Luque can bring a whole facet of great technical boxing, great body work, great combination striking, but he is liable to getting countered and hit with a shot. You watch the Barberena fight, he gets hit many, many times in that fight, gets hurt in spots in that fight, but comes through. If I just seen anything from Tyron Woodley recently that gave me any confidence that he could come in here and win this fight, then I would pick him. Juicy dog odds. I don't mind taking a shot on Tyron Woodley with the odds he's at, but you need to think that he has to come out here and do something more than what he's shown recently. And Luque is a finisher himself. I mean, he beat Randy Brown and Nico Price. Now, they're guys that are not top 15 guys. This is the former champion of the division, so he'll maybe pay a little bit more respect to a Tyron Woodley because he probably has more weapons than those 2 guys anyway. I have to go with Vicente Luque. Like I said, if you're taking the shot on Tyron Woodley, I wish you all the best. You're getting good dog odds, but you're kind of hoping that he's going to show up. What if he doesn't show up again and doesn't lose? How many rounds in a row has the guy lost? I mean, it's serious the amount of rounds that he's not winning rounds, let alone winning fights. So the pick's going to be Vicente Luque. I think that Woodley could win rounds here, but I have to go with Vicente Luque in this spot here. And the main event of the night, we have Stipe Miocic against Francis Ngannou 2, the rematch from 2018, where Stipe Miocic completely derailed the hype train of Francis Ngannou, and I seen it coming a mile away. This fight actually shaped the way I bet on fights a lot more than I did in the past. And this, my videos on YouTube, you will see I was supremely confident in Stipe Miocic. I wanted to bet him. Said I was going to bet him, did not bet him at all, and kicked myself for weeks after that I didn't bet that spot. And since then, I've definitely went on and when I see a spot that I really like, go on and bet it. The way that fight kind of went, Francis came out, tried to swing, tried to take him out, didn't have anything else really that he could do. And once he realised that he couldn't knock him out and he couldn't land the killer blow, he gasped badly. He got controlled, and that was just in part to Miocic fighting a really smart game plan, avoiding the big shots and tying him up and tiring him out. And that's what I thought was going to happen, but I actually thought he was going to get Ngannou out there. He didn't do so in that point, but he won the fight. And I think he was plus 165 or around that plus 163 actually was, and I missed that spot big and was kicking myself. And a great performance there. And Stipe is the greatest heavyweight in MMA, in my opinion. In my opinion, I know some people are going to come at me with Fedor, but I've never been the biggest Fedor Emelianenko guy. I always thought he should have faced better opposition than what he did in some of his spots. Not saying that he didn't fight high caliber guys out there, but he did. I thought he could have came to the UFC and been the big guy, but never ever did so. Ngannou in that one, I think he was believing his own hype. He believed that the belt was already around his waist. He was going to take that belt back to Cameroon, back to Paris. And that was a kind of eye-opener there. And then we've seen the kind of residual effect afterwards where he didn't look good against Derek Lewis. He looked gun-shy, didn't want to swing anything, and lost that fight there. Since then, he's had to build his way back. And he's did so in typical Francis Ngannou way. 4 fights, 4 first-round knockouts, beat 2 former champions, beat two prospects of the division and knocked them out silly. And he's barely got, 2 minutes of fight time, maybe 2.5 minutes of fight time in those 4 fights. So we know what he wants to do here. He wants to come out there and knock out Stipe Miocic, and I absolutely think that he's live to do that. But we've seen the blueprint and how you beat Francis Ngannou. And if that's avoid the big shots and grind them out, and Stipe can absolutely do that. I just don't think he's going to avoid the kill shot this time. I like Francis Ngannou to beat Stipe Miocic here. I think he's going to be a little bit more patient. I think he's going to sit back, evaluate things a little bit more, but then when the opportunity strikes, I think that kill blow is going to land. I like the fact that he's in Vegas. I like the fact that he's got Eric Nixick in his corner, who's a very smart coach, a good coach, who'll hopefully drum it into him that, look, you don't have to come out here and blow everything in the first round. You've got 25 minutes to just land a couple of strikes and you can absolutely put this guy out. So my pick's going to be Francis Ngannou. If he doesn't get out grappled, it doesn't get kind of clinched up here, then I think that he can catch Miocic with a killer shot in the early rounds. So I'm going to pick, I'm actually really tempted to bet Francis Ngannou in rounds 1, 2, and 3. It's something I looked at earlier on, and I spoke about it in the MMA Huddle podcast where someone brought it up as well. Actually, and I think it's plus 100 or so, but I'm kind of a little bit hesitant because I'm thinking that money's going to come in Miocic that might turn the line where I could maybe get dog money and just a straight Ngannou pick. I don't know whether that's going to happen, but it could. We're only at Monday evening. So, yeah, my pick's going to be Francis Ngannou via knockout in the first 2 rounds in this one here, and he'll be the new UFC heavyweight champion of the world. So, yeah, guys, that's my picks for UFC 260. I can see some guys in the chat there. Mali TKO. Don't fight it, brother O'Malley. We'll find that chin. Absolutely could. What's up, Kieran? Hope you're well, man. It's the Omar Young fight off. Well, I thought it was, but it looks like it's not. I've seen someone on Twitter saying that it doesn't look like that it's done. So yeah, Cardinals smell a poop. Okay then, Johnny boy. Away you go. I'm seeing that. Really think Vicente Luque is going to sleep Woodley. Could happen. So yeah. Frankie murder via TKO, via KO. Unfortunately, I like Stipe. What does Stipe do if he loses? He might get a rematch. Could absolutely happen there. Pretty confident in Stipe from Damien. Francis big shots are visible for someone like Stipe. Could absolutely happen. I just don't think I think he finds the shot here. That's just my opinion. So, guys, thank you very much. We're coming on nearly 40 minutes here. If you can throw a like in the video, please, please, please. It really helps analytics. And gets out there. Hopefully more people can see this. If you're new to the channel, I'm just one short of 4,000 subs. Go and hit that sub button. Let me know your subscriber number 4,000 and let me know who you are. Guys, until it's actually 2 weeks now, we'll be back for, I think it's Till against Vittori. It's the main event. Thank you all very much for sticking with me. Thank you for all the support. All the very, very best. Enjoy UFC 260. When it comes around,